The Arizona desert is defined by its sun. During the day, the heat is a physical weight pressing down on the asphalt of Phoenix and the dust of the Superstition Mountains. It forces everything living to seek shelter. And so, you adapt. You wait for the sun to drop behind the White Tank Mountains. You wait for the sky to turn that deep, bruised purple. The temperature falls. The breeze kicks up. You step out onto your patio, or you head to the trailhead at dusk, feeling the relief of the cooling air. Your backyard is the one piece of the natural world you believe you control. You mow the sparse grass. You put a block wall around it. You turn on the porch lights and let the dog out without a second thought. It is the safest ground you know, and almost nothing living in it has ever agreed to that arrangement. There is a softness to the desert night that makes you let your guard down, but that softness is a kind of camouflage. The night out here is not a time of rest. It is a shift change. When you turn off the lights and step into the dark, you are walking into a landscape that has just woken up. Most lists of dangerous animals send you somewhere remote, to the deep swamps or the high frozen peaks. This one does not move an inch. Today we are counting down 10 predators of the Arizona night, but we are ranking them by two things at once. First, by how likely each already is to be within 100 feet of you right now, and second, by how completely you would fail to notice it, weighted by what it actually does to the human body in real numbers logged by Arizona poison control centers and state wildlife officials. We are ranking them not just by how much harm they can do, but by how completely they have stayed out of the picture you carry of this state. And here is the shape of it. We start with the creatures you step over on your own driveway. We move through the shadows on the edge of the hiking trail. And we end with something you cannot see from your back door, because it has probably already bypassed your locks entirely. By the time we reach number 1, the idea of the desert creeping into your home is going to stop being a figure of speech. It is the one thing I can guarantee you have brought into your bedroom without ever feeling it. If you have a patio, a porch, or if you ever walk the desert after dark, go ahead and subscribe. It takes 2 seconds and it helps us keep telling the truth about what is out there. And tell me one thing, where in the world are you watching from, and what is the strangest thing you have ever found waiting for you in your yard at night? Drop it in the comments. I read them. Now, the countdown. Number 10. The Sonoran Desert Toad. You would not think of an amphibian as a creature that commands fear in one of the driest places on Earth, but the Sonoran Desert has its own rules. During the violent summer monsoons, when the lightning cracks over Tucson and the dry washes suddenly flood, this massive olive-green toad emerges from the mud where it has been sleeping for months. An adult can grow up to 8 inches long and weigh nearly 2 pounds. It is a heavy, silent presence. What makes it dangerous is not a bite or a sting. It is the simple fact of its existence on your wet lawn at night. Behind its eyes and on its legs are prominent parotoid glands. When threatened, the toad secretes a milky white toxin. This venom is an incredibly potent cocktail containing bufotenin and 5-MeO-DMT. People assume a toad in a suburban yard is harmless. They let their dogs out for a final bathroom break at midnight. The dog sees movement in the wet grass, approaches, and gives the toad a curious sniff or a gentle bite. Within minutes, the denial shatters. The toxin is rapidly absorbed through the mucous membranes of the dog's mouth. It triggers profuse salivation, loss of coordination, elevated heart rate, and severe seizures. Without immediate veterinary intervention, the dog can die of cardiac arrest. The toad does not attack. It does not chase. It simply sits in the dark, trusting its chemical armor, letting you bring the disaster upon yourself. Number 10 is the danger that does not need a weapon to kill, only your own mistaken belief that the grass is empty. Number 9. The Gila Monster. Everyone who lives in Arizona knows what a Gila monster is, the heavy, beaded lizard with the striking orange and black warning colors. The folklore says they are slow, clumsy, and strictly daytime wanderers of the rocky foothills. What most people do not know is how they adapt when the true heat of the summer arrives. When July pushes the daytime temperatures past 110 degrees, the Gila monster shifts its schedule. It becomes crepuscular and nocturnal. It moves under the cover of the dark to hunt for nestling mammals and reptile eggs. An adult can be 2 feet long. It has a thick tail where it stores fat, allowing it to spend most of its life underground. But when it is on the surface at night, it blends perfectly into the mottled shadows of the desert floor. The danger of the Gila monster lies in human psychology. When people encounter one on a twilight hike or wandering near a golf course retention wall, they see how sluggish it appears. They think they can poke it, move it, or get a camera right in its face. But the Gila monster is remarkably fast in a short strike, and its bite is not like a snake's. It does not have hypodermic fangs. Instead, its venom glands are in its lower jaw. When it bites, it clamps down with bone-crushing force and begins to chew, physically grinding the venom into the torn tissue through grooved teeth. The pain is described by victims as a localized fire that shoots up the limb, causing intense swelling, nausea, and a drop in blood pressure. The lizard will not let go easily. Sometimes it has to be pried off with a stick or submerged in water. It warns you with its colors, it warns you with its hiss, and yet every year people reach out a hand anyway. Number 9 is the living fossil that punishes the curious who refuse to listen. Number 8, the Western Black Widow. If you ask someone where the deadliest spiders live, they will picture deep, forgotten woods or abandoned mine shafts. They picture the wilderness. They do not picture the underside of their own plastic patio chair. The Western Black Widow thrives in the urban sprawl of Maricopa and Pima counties. It does not care about the pristine desert. It cares about the spaces you have built, the water meter boxes, the cinder block walls, the pool pump enclosures, and the dark corners of the garage. The female is a shiny, bulbous black with the iconic red hourglass on her abdomen. She spins a messy, erratic, three-dimensional web that looks like a tangled mistake in the dark. But it is not a mistake. It is an alarm system. She is entirely nocturnal. She hides deep in the crevice during the day and hangs upside down in the web at night. The danger is the sheer potency of what she carries. Her venom is a neurotoxin reported to be up to 15 times stronger than that of a prairie rattlesnake by volume. The bite itself is often painless. A tiny pinprick you might brush off as a mosquito while you reach blindly into the dark to grab a piece of firewood or a coiled garden hose. But within an hour, the latrodectism sets in. Severe muscle cramps starting at the bite site and spreading to the chest and abdomen. The pain mimics appendicitis or a heart attack. You sweat, your blood pressure spikes, and your diaphragm tightens until breathing becomes a chore. She never wanted to hunt you. She just assumed the dark space belonged to her, and you put your hand directly into her living room. Number 8 is the quiet reminder that the darkest corner of your yard is already occupied. Number 7. The giant desert centipede. Now we move from the animals that wait quietly to the ones that actively patrol the dark. The giant desert centipede, or Scolopendra heros, looks like a hallucination. It can grow up to 8 inches long. It has an armored, segmented body with a burnt orange head, a dark trunk, and bright yellow legs. It does not look like it belongs in this century. You think of centipedes as harmless housebugs that scurry under baseboards. The giant desert centipede is an apex predator of the microworld. It hunts at night, moving with terrifying speed over the dry earth, searching for lizards, rodents, and even small snakes. It is highly aggressive when disturbed. The mechanism of its danger is its delivery system. It does not bite with a mouth. It has a pair of modified front legs called forcipules that act like venomous pincers. They are thick, sharp, and hollow, capable of piercing human skin with ease. Because it seeks out moisture and shelter during the night, campers in the Coconino National Forest or the desert lowlands often leave their hiking boots outside the tent, or they leave a sleeping bag slightly unzipped. The centipede crawls inside to wait out the coming day. When you slide your foot in before dawn, it strikes. The venom causes immediate, intense, searing pain that can last for hours, followed by swelling and tissue damage. It is a creature that refuses to back down, rearing up on its hind legs to face you if you shine a flashlight on it. Number 7 is the nightmare that runs on too many legs and does not care how big you are. Number 6, the javelina, the collared peccary. They look like wild pigs covered in coarse, wire-like hair, but they are completely different animals. They weigh between 40 and 60 pounds, equipped with straight, razor-sharp canine teeth that self-sharpen every time they open and close their jaws. People who move to places like Sedona or the foothills of Tucson see them trotting through the neighborhood at dusk and think they are cute, quirky desert mascots. They leave water out for them. They throw food scraps over the fence. This is the denial that creates the danger. Javelinas are highly social, traveling in squadrons of up to 20 individuals. They have terrible eyesight, which makes them nervous, unpredictable, and highly reactive to movement or sound in the dark. When you take your dog for a walk at 10 at night along a quiet suburban street, the wind shifts. You smell a sudden, sharp odor of skunk. That is the scent gland on the javelina's back. They are already there, eating the fallen fruit from your neighbor's tree. When the dog barks, the javelina does not run. It cannot see well enough to know what you are, but it knows it has numbers. They charge. A javelina attack is a chaotic, violent blur in the dark. They will tear a dog to pieces with those tusks, and if you get in the middle, they will turn on you, slicing through denim and calf muscle in a matter of seconds. The desert did not invade the neighborhood. The neighborhood was built directly across their nocturnal highway. Number 6 is the local gang that does not negotiate and does not care about your property lines. We are at the halfway point, and if you are still with me, listening to the reality of what happens when the desert sun goes down, you are clearly someone who actually wants to know what is out there. You do not just want the postcard version of Arizona, you want the truth. So this is the perfect moment to subscribe to the channel, because from here, the list stops being about animals you can easily chase away and starts being about the ones people flat out refuse to believe are sharing their space. Number 5. The kissing bug. If the javelina commands respect through brute force, the next creature hides by being entirely silent and intimately close. The triatamine bug, widely known as the kissing bug. It looks like a common stink bug, dark brown or black with a flat, shield-like body, about an inch long. You find them crawling on the stucco walls of your house on a warm summer night. Most insects on this list bite defensively. They bite because you stepped on them or cornered them. The kissing bug is different. It bites you because it wants to feed on you. It is a blood-feeding parasite. In the dead of night, it senses the carbon dioxide you exhale while you sleep. It slips through the cracks in the weather stripping, crawls across the bed sheets, and finds the exposed skin of your face, usually around your lips or eyes. The bite itself is painless. It uses an anesthetic in its saliva so you do not wake up while it feeds for up to 15 minutes. The immediate danger is severe allergic reactions. Some people go into anaphylactic shock in their sleep from the proteins in the saliva, but the hidden horror is what it carries. Many kissing bugs in Arizona carry a parasite called Trypanosoma cruzi, the cause of Chagas disease. After the bug feeds, it defecates near the bite wound. When you subconsciously scratch the itchy spot in your sleep, you rub the parasite directly into your bloodstream. Chagas disease can remain silent in your body for decades, slowly attacking the heart muscle until it causes sudden, fatal heart failure 20 years later. Number 5 is the threat that feeds on your absolute trust in your own bedroom. Number 4. The black bear. When you think of Arizona, you think of saguaro cactus and red rocks. You do not think of bears. But the state is home to thousands of black bears, primarily up on the Mogollon Rim, in the White Mountains, and in the high country of the Coconino National Forest. The reframe here is how we understand bear behavior. We think of them as daytime foragers, wandering through the pine trees, eating berries, and turning over rocks. But when the summer heat bakes the canyons, the bears become creatures of the night, and their intelligence leads them straight to you. Every summer, people drive up from the sweltering valley of Phoenix to camp in the cool mountain air of Payson or Flagstaff. They pack their coolers with hot dogs, sweet drinks, and fruit. They pitch their tents and fall asleep to the sound of the wind. A black bear can weigh up to 300 pounds, but its footpads are soft. It moves through the dark forest in absolute silence. It has a sense of smell 7 times stronger than a bloodhound. It smells the granola wrapper you left in the pocket of the jacket inside your tent. At 2 in the morning, the false calm of the campsite is broken by the sound of heavy breathing just inches from the thin nylon wall of the tent. Most bears want the food and will run if yelled at, but a habituated bear in the dark is a different entity. It has lost its fear of the human voice. It presses its weight against the tent fabric, collapsing the poles, stepping into the dark chaos of screaming campers. You thought you left the danger of the city behind, completely ignoring the apex scavenger that was waiting for you to bring it dinner. Number 4 is the heavy shadow that owns the high country night. Number 3. The mountain lion. Now the animals begin to genuinely surprise people, not because they exist, but because of how close they get. Arizona has one of the densest populations of mountain lions in the United States. They roam from the rim of the Grand Canyon down to the desert washes of Tucson. The denial surrounding the mountain lion is profound. Hikers believe that if they stay on the popular trails at Camelback Mountain or Piestewa Peak, they are safe. They believe the lion is a creature of the deep wilderness. But a mountain lion does not recognize a city limit. It follows the mule deer, and the mule deer follow the green lawns and golf courses of the suburbs. The mechanism of danger is perfect stealth. A mountain lion can weigh 150 pounds and leap 20 feet from a standstill. It has night vision that turns pitch blackness into a brightly lit landscape. When you take a headlamp and go for a night hike to see the city lights from the ridge, you are a beacon. The lion sees you from a mile away. It does not roar, it does not snap twigs, it simply follows. It paces you on the ridge above, its paws acting like shock absorbers. The only warning you might ever get is the sudden, eerie feeling of being watched, or the brief reflection of pale yellow eyeshine floating in the brush just beyond the reach of your flashlight beam. They rarely attack humans. But the fact that they can shadow you for 3 miles, deciding every second whether you are prey or simply a curiosity, while you remain completely unaware, is the true terror of the trail. Number 3 is the apex predator that watches you until you finally leave. And that leaves just 2. Number 2 is a creature that forces you to rethink every step you take on the pavement. And number 1 is the thing I warned you about at the very start, the one that has perfected the art of slipping right into your bed. Number 2, the Mojave rattlesnake. There are 13 species of rattlesnakes in Arizona. Most people know the western diamondback. It is big, loud, and quick to defend itself. It strikes, it injects hemotoxic venom that destroys tissue, and it retreats. But the Mojave rattlesnake, often called the Mojave green, is a different caliber of threat. It lives in the high desert, in places where the scrub brush meets the rural highways. The psychological trap is the pavement. When people step out of their cars at night on a dirt road or a rural driveway, they look at the bushes for snakes. They do not look at the warm asphalt. But the Mojave green is cold-blooded. After the sun goes down, it slithers onto the pavement to absorb the residual heat radiating from the blacktop. It lies perfectly still in the dark. You step out of the truck. You do not see the olive-green bands blending into the night. It does not always rattle to warn you. It trusts its camouflage until your boot is inches away. Then it strikes. The true nightmare of the Mojave green is its venom. It does not just possess the tissue-destroying properties of a normal rattlesnake. It carries a potent type A neurotoxin. The bite might not even swell dramatically at first. You might think it was a dry bite. But within minutes, the neurotoxin travels through the bloodstream, blocking the signals from your nerves to your muscles. Your vision blurs. You struggle to swallow. The muscles in your chest begin to paralyze. Out in the quiet desert night, miles from a hospital, it slowly shuts off your ability to breathe. Number 2 did not just survive the harshness of the desert night. It weaponized it, leaving us to walk carefully in the spaces we thought we cleared. Number 1, the Arizona bark scorpion. And so we arrive at number 1. I told you at the beginning there was something you have likely already carried home on your own body, or found sharing the most intimate spaces of your life. It is not the biggest animal on the list. It is barely 2 to 3 inches long, a pale, translucent yellow arachnid called Centruroides sculpturatus, the Arizona bark scorpion. It is the most venomous scorpion in North America, and it is the absolute master of the blind spot. The denial surrounding the bark scorpion is the belief that the inside of your home is a fortress. You lock the deadbolt, you shut the windows, but the bark scorpion does not care about your doors. It can compress its body to the thickness of a credit card, slipping through the microscopic gaps in your weather stripping. Unlike other scorpions that dig in the dirt, the bark scorpion is a climber. It scales the stucco walls of your house, it crawls across your ceiling in the dark, and it has a trait called positive thigmotaxis. It likes the feeling of being touched on all sides. It seeks out tight, dark, compressed spaces to sleep during the day and hunt from at night, which means it finds your shoes. It finds the pile of laundry on the floor. It finds the dark folds of the sheets at the foot of your bed. You wake up in the middle of the night to get a glass of water. You slide your foot into your slipper in the dark, or you roll over in your sleep, pulling the blanket tight against your leg. You never see it. The sting is immediate and violent, described as the feeling of a severe electric shock combined with a hot nail driven into the flesh. For adults, it is days of agonizing pain, numbness, and muscle twitching. For a child or an elderly person, the neurotoxin can cause frothing at the mouth, respiratory distress, and requires immediate antivenom. You can take an ultraviolet flashlight and walk around your property line at night. The scorpions will glow a bright, radioactive green against the block wall. You will see 10, 20, maybe 50 of them surrounding your house, waiting in the dark. They were always there. Number 1 goes to the venomous ghost that was in your bed long before you were. So here is what this list is really about. It is not about living in constant fear of the dark. It is about the illusion of the patio light. The breeze kicks up. You look out over the block wall into the black expanse of the desert, and you feel the quiet. But the quiet is just a frequency you cannot hear. The desert did not retreat when we poured the concrete. It just adapted to our schedule. The heavy toad sitting on the wet grass, the neurotoxic spider under the chair, the ghost lion on the ridge, the pale yellow scorpion dropping quietly onto the carpet. The desert was never really tame. It just lets you believe it was. It watches you walk to your car. It waits in the shadow of the garage. It exists exactly as it did 1,000 years ago, carrying the exact same lethal tools while we pretend the world stops at our front door. If this changed the way you will step into the dark tonight, subscribe and stay for the next one. And the next time you look out your window and think the night is empty, remember why. You were never alone out here. You just thought you were.